Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true.
Woman shot and killed at her home in Linstead, St. Catherine. A 20-year-old woman was shot and killed at her home in Linstead, St. Catherine on September 16. She is Tia Ferran of Banbury, Linstead. Reports from the police were that about 8:50 p.m., residents heard explosions and summoned them. Upon their arrival, Ferran was seen on the floor in her house with multiple gunshot wounds to the upper body. She was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. Trelawney woman perishes in house fire. A woman perished in a fire of unknown origin which razed her house in Trelawney Saturday night. The deceased has been identified as 49-year-old Marcia Brady of Mount Hall in the parish. She was said to be suffering from a mental illness. Reports are that residents saw fire coming from the concrete and board structure which was occupied by Marcia and called the fire brigade. Marcia's charred remains were discovered in the concrete-walled bathroom after the fire brigade extinguished the blaze. The Trelawney police are investigating. Massive turnout at PNP conference as comrades bullish on party's prospect. A massive crowd is now at the Nationalist Arena in Kingston, where the People's National Party 85th Annual Conference is hitting top gear. After a slow build-up which delayed the scheduled 10 a.m. start, the crowd has swelled with more people coming in. In the main orange tops, with the names and images of their candidates for the next local government election and general elections, the comrades are in a festive mode, with hundreds outside in a party mode with the selector playing mainly dancehall music with traditional PNP songs including My Leader Banya, Introspect. With the conference being held under the theme Time Come, the comrades, almost to a person, are upbeat that they are in pole position to win whichever election comes next. Despite a boiling sun, the comrades are partying without a care outside, while the formalities take place on the stage inside. With dozens of vendors selling everything from a sip to a spliff, it's a PNP party now underway. PNP conference speakers lash government over corruption, treatment of workers. One by one, representatives of the arms and affiliates of the People's National Party on Sunday slammed the Holness administration for alleged being soft on corruption and doing little to help government workers, including teachers, doctors, and nurses. They were speaking at the party's 85th annual conference under the way at the National Arena in St. Andrew. "But the six day, who is the six? Bring out the six," said Camille John, who spoke on behalf of overseas affiliates. She was referring to the disclosure from the Integrity Commission that 6 members of Parliament are being investigated for alleged illicit enrichment. Their identities remain unknown, but the opposition PNP, without evidence, has suggested that persons are from the ruling Jamaica Labour Party. Dexter Martin, Deputy General Secretary of the National Workers' Union, chastised the government over the treatment of workers. Line at the Ministry of Labour is long because everywhere you turn, people have been having disputes, he said, arguing that the government has not been managing the processes. He criticized the contentious review of the compensation for public sector workers, declaring that there were no increases. Under the new regime, workers are guaranteed a minimum 20% increase after tax over 3 years. Some benefits were cut. President of the PNP Patriarchs, the professional arm, Christopher Henry, criticized the government for the state-owned National Housing Trust (NHT) for using private institutions such as banks to provide certain loans to beneficiaries under a new program. The NHT would absorb agreed interest rate. The Patriarchs General Secretary Paul Blake said he had a new award for the Holness administration, which he said was for being an unruly and wicked government. The Secretary General of Socialist International, Benedicta, spoke glowingly of the PNP Mark Golding president, saying he is in a position to lead the much-needed transformation of Jamaica. The Ghanaians emphasized that the PNP needs to be united to be a powerful political force. To win the next elections, we must unite as a party with a singular focus, the political and socio-economic transformation of Jamaica. Let us set our differences aside and stand together strong and resolute. According to her, the stakes are higher for the People's National Party than ever before. The fate of our beloved Jamaica rests in the balance, and it is our responsibility to shape the fate for the better, she said. Head of the PNP Women's Movement Patricia Duncan Sutherland also addressed the packed National Arena. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck expresses concern about high number of sexual abuse cases in St. Mary. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has expressed concern about the high number of sexual abuse cases in St. Mary. Mr. Chuck was speaking in Another Bay in the parish when he said all efforts need to be made to bring perpetrators to justice. He said citizens must feel free and protected in their country. Mr. Chuck also pleaded with victims of abuse to desist from extracting vengeance on the perpetrators. He stressed the importance of using the avenues provided by the government.
We are now suffering from terrible criminality, wrongdoing, abuses, all sorts of violence, not only in the homes, in the neighborhoods, but right across the parishes. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamaica can do better than that. We don't need all the abuses that take place in the homes. Sadly, St. Mary has a high incidence of sexual abuse. Our young girls and young boys must be protected, and our men must be brought to justice in a very timely manner when any abuse, be it sexual, domestic violence, when they occur. Far too many homes across Jamaica we have abuse, and many times the women can't take it and they retaliate, and sometimes violently, sometimes with justifiable revenge, because they say they're giving back what they got, but it is never really justifiable. The truth of the matter is, when anyone has been hurt, is a victim, please, we have a victim service office in every parish. Discuss it with the victim service officer, who can get a counselor to assist you in overcoming whatever abuse or injury that may have been caused. It is not in your interest to take it upon yourself.
St. Elizabeth Health Department ramping up dengue fever alert. The St. Elizabeth Health Department is ramping up efforts to prevent and control the spread of dengue fever across the parish. This comes against the background of reports of increased cases of the disease in Jamaica and wider Caribbean. Addressing the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation's monthly meeting in Black River on Thursday, September 14, Medical Officer of Health, St. Elizabeth Health Department Dr. Tonian Darkins, indicated that currently the parish's index stands up at 12%, a 0.5 percentage point increase over the previous month figure. She shared important insight into the situation and the proactive measures being taken to combat the public health threat. We are in the process of re-engaging our temporary vector control workers, so in short order, you'll see an increased number of those workers in the communities checking for and destroying mosquito breeding sites and indicating members of the community. We have also revised our vector control workers plan, and that will be activated in short order, Dr. Darkins informed. She maintained that dengue prevention is a collective responsibility and urges all persons to regularly empty or cover water storage drums and containers. Additionally, the medical officer said cooking oil can be added to the stagnant water in and around the home to prevent mosquito breeding. To protect yourself from dengue, you need to protect yourself from mosquito bites. We need to protect ourselves from mosquito bites by wearing covering clothing where possible, light-colored clothing, and using a mosquito repellent as best as possible, Dr. Darkins further stated. She reiterated dengue fever's clinical presentation, noting that viral infection symptoms manifest in the form of fever, joint and abdominal pains, pain behind the eyes, and sometimes bleeding. The medical officer advises against using painkillers containing aspirin, noting that these can worsen the symptoms, causing, among other things, adverse bleeding. She recommends that paracetamol be used instead for pain relief. She pointed out that some individuals may experience adverse dengue symptoms that require hospitalization, emphasizing that where this occurs, it is imperative that they seek immediate medical attention. Dr. Darkins underscored that it is incumbent on every Jamaican to heed the warnings, take precautions, and work together to safeguard the health of the community and, by extension, country.
Exact revenge.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell.